think Jake, you never really have high hopes when you meet someone like Jake, and that is so judgmental. But he came in, he was loud, he was just fun, and he was just didn't really seem there to be serious. And lo and behold, he gets into work mode and he is on it. And he doesn't let things slip. He's got a great attitude towards work. So I'm going to go with Jake and Eddie. Eddie's the OG yachty, and he treats his job very seriously, and he looks after his crew very well. So I say his crew. He felt like a big brother to me the whole time I was with him. But yeah, in all, it was a good group. Yeah,
it is a good group. What about Chef Rachel? Just because, just from a viewer, it seems like her food is probably the best out of any chef that's ever existed. That's just the impression I get from watching her 2 seasons. And I know a lot of people have said that. Like, is it true? I mean, is she one of the best chefs you've ever worked with in terms of the food? And talk to me.
Then it's entirely true. And I always found it weird because people are always like, oh, it looks so amazing. And I'm like, what do you mean it looks? It does. What do you mean it looks amazing? Like, it truly is unbelievable. How are you getting that impression from the TV? I'm very confused by that, but it truly is amazing. And I love how Rachel loves a challenge. When they're asking for like a family style meal, she's like, what? Why aren't we doing 8-course, 12-course meals 3 times a day? I'm like, you're setting yourself up for death here, but okay. And she's so enthusiastic, and she brings so much life and wit to the galley. And working alongside that in interior is such a pleasure. She is the bomb.
And you just hear like the charter guests say things like, we've never had food like this. I don't know. You just feel it more.
They're not joking.
Her. Yeah.
And they're not exaggerating. It's unbelievable. And having her food, we were quite naughty. We used to always, take what we're yachties, everyone does this, but you sometimes get some leftovers here and there, not quite from the plate, but from what's not been eaten on platters and whatnot. And it was unbelievable. And then that usually goes down to crew as well. So we were treated so well with that. But, she is the kind of chef that won't change her standards when it comes to serving guests and serving crew. She's at one level and she's going to stick to that. And that's hugely appreciated, I think.
Was there one thing in particular like that you got to taste of hers that just sticks out as like the best?
The French toast. I'm not joking.
Really?
It was stunning. Like, I'm salivating thinking about it. It was so good.
I'm salivating thinking about it. I mean, I can just picture it. Well, talk to me. You say Jake is one of the hardest workers. Talk to me about Jake. I mean, we have this Steamy Kiss, which has happened on national TV.
I know.
Talk to me about this kiss.
Do you know what? Is there really much to talk about? It was a dare. You can see that I'm a little bit out of it. I've had a bit to drink. We've just been swimming in the restaurant pool, which is highly unacceptable, but it happened and it was lots of fun. Weirdly enough, I don't think I'd eaten much that day because I didn't have any recollection of it until I saw that video. And I can't tell you how much that hit me in such an odd place. Like, I felt really, really uncomfortable. And that's based on the fact that I hadn't spoken to Jake that day. I didn't even remember it happening. And I put my relationship with Jake in a place where I had no control of it anymore. And we had such a great connection. I thought that maybe he thought I was into him, or maybe he thought I didn't know the context. I didn't know it was a dare. Like, it was just very, very uncomfortable. But alas, everything is fine and it goes well. But yeah, he's a good looking guy. He's a lovely guy. We had a steamy kiss. It was great. It was great to look back on, I wasn't actually as embarrassed as I thought I'd be.
No, I mean, your initial reaction was, oh my God, what did I do? And listen, we've all been there, no judgment. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've blacked out drunk. So it is what it is. Right. We all can't remember everything all the time.
No.
Like, was your initial reaction like, because, you said it like on the TV, like you said, like that he might now think that you're into him, like he's straight. Yeah. Was it that? Or was it like, it's just a co-worker and this wouldn't be right anyway?
No,
or was it also that?
There was chemistry with Jake and I, whether that's on a friendship level. I mean, watch the end of the season, you'll see where it goes. But there was always a little something there between us two, and it was fantastic from day one. But I just worried that putting him in this position, in this scenario, he might, get on the defense, be like, I'm not gay, I'm not getting, all that crap. Which is, fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I just didn't want there to be any room for an obstacle to come between us.
That's good. That's very adult of you. talk to me about, you know, because we really haven't had a gay stew since like Josiah on Below Deck way back when, more or less. You know, like, was that a part of your decision? Like, how common is like a gay stew in the real world? And like, was that part of your decision, like to show representation on TV?
You know what? As much as I'd like to say yes, it's absolutely not the case. I don't look at my sexuality more than I look at, you know, what cologne I'm wearing. It has no interest. I don't think I should be like, you know, the speaker of all gays. I don't want to represent anyone but myself. And good grief, if I tried to do that, I'd probably be cancelled. But I'm glad we have such a mixed crew. I'm glad that there's another gay guy on a TV show. It's fantastic. It's really cool. It doesn't happen in Yachting very often. So I'm glad, I guess, I got picked out for that. But yeah, I don't have too much of an opinion on it, but I'm very pleased that I'm around, I guess.
Is that true though? Like in the yachting world, it's still like old school, like where like
hugely so.
They choose.
It's definitely changing. Sorry, it's definitely improving, but it's still very traditional, very old school, and very homophobic and racist. You know, it's not a very nice place for it. I think it's more so on the larger vessels, maybe with like the older crew. You know, seafarers and sailors haven't got the best name for themselves. They're also referred to as sea rats, which is entirely the case at sometimes. But I've experienced some homophobia for sure. But I shrug it off. And as I said, if I didn't shrug it off, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right. That's the thing. Because I've had other people like Below Deck, past and present on the show. And just I've heard stories, right? Because like you're working there and like it's their charter. So they feel entitled to say or do all sorts of things. And you just have to kind of keep it to yourself at the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've never experienced it from guests. I think my guests are from a level of intelligence not to ever do that. However, it's the crew, you know, it's the old-fashioned engineers, it's the old school yachties that haven't got their head around it.
Interesting. Well, that's why Bravo is so great, because they do such a great, you know, like on all their shows, like of diversity and inclusion across the board. And I mean, that's the impression I got of like the yachting industry, of like where it was in the real world kind of.
Right.
That's what I thought. What was the funnest part of being a part of the show? Like this charter season?
Oh, do you know what? First of all, being able to film and do something so amazing during somewhat of a pandemic was incredible. Again, I'm just so impressed by the production side of things. I'm impressed by the team, you know, how well we stuck to COVID regulations, how often we were tested. The organization was beyond me, and me being a little bit of a control freak, seeing organization at that sort of mass and that magnitude of a scale turned me on.
Do you feel like change? Like, do you feel like your work ability in the real world has now changed from being like a part of this show? Like, have you learned anything, like just from a professional point of view? Like, do you feel like you're a changed worker now?
Hugely so. I learned so much from Heather, and I'm inherently grateful to her. Her attitude, you know, her energy. I'd never made a drink before I joined that bloody boat. So the fact now I have such a passion for mixology is amazing. And I'm a chief stew on my boat now, and I'm able to partake in all of those things. And it was a huge learning curve. I'm very grateful for the whole experience, honestly.